What's the first thing women notice? Your face. That's why you got to take care of. Simple things like getting a haircut, grooming your face, and brushing your teeth is important. But there's one thing guys miss and that women always notice. It's when a guy isn't taking care of his skin. That's why I'm so excited to have T. Shanley as a sponsor of today's video. T. Shanley simplifies the process of taking care of your skin. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing you don't. Seriously, I don't think some of you believe me when I tell you how much implementing a quality skincare routine will improve your confidence in all aspects of your life. I recommend you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: daily face wash, exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer with an SPF 20 and a PM moisturizer. But and to make it dead simple for you guys, they provide an instruction card in every box that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. But because T just sponsoring this video, they're offering you an amazing deal. Just click the first link in the description and get 40% off your first skincare system and free gift. Plus, as a member, you'll get 20% off for life. By the way, one of their new gift options is a silicone body scrubber, which is a $20 value and a complete game changer. Once you use this, you'll never go back to a regular loofah ever again. So don't wait any longer. Click the first link in the description to start your skincare journey today.
It's go time. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to King Talk. We're going to introduce the crew. We got Mr. Shannon Rawls and Whites, legendary Trav Smooth, Kenny P, Hink, Murphy, me, myself, Lapeef J.I. Welcome to King Talk. What's going on, Jimmy? What's going on? How y'all doing?
Everything good.
Everything good.
I'm glad everything is good, man. Happy Tuesday to everyone that's tuning in and also to the panel. I see Kenny P got his State Farm going on today, huh? Red shirt, red button up joint going on. I can't hear you, Kenny. You on mute. You on mute there, Kenny P. Can you hear us? I'll let them figure it out. Oh, you can hear us, okay. Hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let's welcome Big Bad Boy. I became a member. Salute to you. Welcome back. No, you've been a long time member. So probably just rejoin. Want to thank you to be a member. Somebody coming in hot. Who mic is that? That's you, Murph?
What you mean?
I was hearing some feedback. I know that well. I thought it might have been you. So we got in the chat, man. Dale Matthew was going on and saying in one. Christopher Matthews, Dix Bowman. Also got BZ in there. D Woods. What's going on? Miss Coco Chanel's in the house as well. I want to thank everybody that's tuning in again. Hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Feel free to go ahead and share this stream. Anything exciting, gentlemen, before we get the show started? What's going on, Mr. Shannon Rawls?
What up?
Anything exciting that I may know about?
No, nothing this week. I don't watch sports though, so I wouldn't care about the Lakers. But other than that, no, everything is good. Everything's super good, actually.
Well, Shane, your Dodgers in the World Series, brother. Your Dodgers in the World Series.
Thank you for informing me. I had no idea.
I had no idea either, Hank. So thanks for informing me as well.
No worries.
I probably wouldn't have knew about it, but
right on. It starts on Friday for those who want to know. It starts on Friday.
Okay. I know the NBA opened up, so I was excited about it.
Today was open tip-off day.
Oh yeah, now we started to get people talking. This is our sport right here.
This is where it's at. I'm watching the Lakers win right now.
Okay.
Well,
All right. Did
Hey,
Bronny
yeah,
have a slam dunk yet? Trev?
we need.
oh no, I'm just watching the score. I don't know what's going on right now.
Okay.
I'm trying to,
Yeah.
he better.
We need. We need to get a petition going, man. We need to get more young black brothers in the major leagues, man. Too much money out there to be missed.
You never lied about that, man. I tried to introduce it to my son. I say, man, we're gonna try baseball next and see what you got going on there. Let's see what it do. Nothing wrong with it. Anyhow, man. Let's go ahead and get this show started. I got this clip, man, that I put up already. This is one of Thursday's show, which is in reference to the title. Do men who have means view monogamy differently than others? But this is Clout Jones speaking on men's nature. So I'm going to go ahead and play this clip, and then we'll go ahead and react to it. Let me wait for Mr. Shannon Raw. Shannon, you there? I want to play it, and you miss it, brother. All right, there you go. All right, here we go.
Cheating, that's the programming. It's being in a relationship that's the programming. And I think that all too often men are treated as though being in a relationship is our default setting, and it is not. That is not natural to us. It's not our default setting. It's not even our innate desire. If most men are being honest, the reason why most men want a relationship is for the sake of a woman that they care for. But if it was not required to have a relationship to attain that particular woman that they care for, most men would never be in a relationship. It's not on most of our minds. It's not our dating or mating strategy. It becomes a dating and mating strategy for older men solely because their testosterone is on the decline, and realistically they can't handle multiple women once they get to, like most men in their 40s, after one nut, at the end of the day they're done. So at the end of the day, they can't handle multiple women. But if they had the testosterone burning through them and that desire, trust me, their body, when they wake up, is telling them to go take something down before that every day. I don't think women really understand it, because I don't think women are as often put in a position where they have to deny their nature. So like women don't have to deny their period, right? Like we all accept that you have periods. We all accept that you have PMS. We all accept that we all accept that women are emotional, and there are certain behaviors that are innate in them based solely off of the fact that they're women. And as men, we're taught to accept that. With us, we're told that those basic innate things are a lack of discipline or some type of lack of self-control. And I don't feel that that's the case. I think it's just that this is our innate natural desire. Another example is like why I take an issue with that, especially with the sexual discipline thing, right? It's like literally every single body part on a human being is utilized daily. From your eyes, you utilize them daily. You utilize your nose daily. You utilize your mouth daily. You utilize your arms, your feet, your stomach, your asshole. You utilize daily. But for some reason, men are consistently told that the first organ that wakes up every morning, that's the one the one that brings them pleasure, the one that brings them the most pleasure, and the one that literally is responsible for procreating, bringing us life. That's the one that y'all tell us that we need to have discipline over, or that we need to somehow self-control. And to me, personally, I feel like that's society repressing the male sexual desire in order to get the man stuck into society and being a productive member of society. So I feel as though that's where the conditioning is. It's teaching men that they're supposed to be in a relationship and they're supposed to be quote unquote faithful, when really that's not our nature. We're only doing that for the sake of women.
Clout Jones says we are only in relationships for the sake of women. It's not in men's nature. I'm going to start with you, Trey. What do you think about that, brother?
Well, he definitely has some valid points in there. There absolutely is some serious suppression when it comes to male nature. We are demonized for being sexual, and there absolutely seems like there's some serious suppression going on when it comes to male behavior, definitely on a sexual level, and just an attack on masculinity in general. As far as if we think that there's some type of conditioning, yeah, we know that's for sure, but I don't have the answers as far as what it is we're supposed to do. I think that we would end up just being in a circular argument to say what we're meant to do. I think it's that's an opinion to me. What I normally and would advise someone to do is to find a person who is likely to be with your situation, ready to get on your program. Whatever it is that you do, if you decide that you want to deal with multiple women, then you find women who would like to deal with that. Typically, most men can't handle multiple women, at least holistically, as far as taking care of them, covering them, protecting them, and just providing for them in every way, whether it be not just financial, but emotionally and everything else. And it could honestly be a headache trying to keep up with that. So I think that if you are going to have women in your life, then you should be responsible for them to an extent, for, I guess, whatever it is that you negotiate, right? Now, permanent partners and things of that nature, if you're going to do that, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with it. So I get the idea most men are not going to be able to handle that. But there are some men who absolutely can. And who am I to tell you that you shouldn't if you and the women you are with agree with that? So I honestly don't have an answer for what it is that we're supposed to do. You can ask 10 different people, and I think you honestly will get 10 different answers on what it is we are intended to do. So what I say is do what works best for you and find a partner who's going to agree with that.
I want to ask you this, Trev, because it's a lot of gentlemen that agree with what Klaus said in that last video. Where are they getting this information from? Is this something that you think men just feel inside? They have to be getting this from somewhere.
I'll say this. It's a theory, but it's based on logic, right? If you look at the fact that we can impregnate infinite women, right? And women can't operate like that. It appears as if women are absolutely designed to deal with one man, but it does not necessarily appear that men are the same. Our nature is more sexual. So if you think about it, if you want to say, you can absolutely have the argument that biologically our sexual drive is higher than a woman's, right? For some men, they have an insatiable thirst for sex. And usually, now I've met some women who will, smash you under the table. We ain't gonna lie. But typically, women struggle to keep up with the sexual drive as of a man. So if you're basing that on that logic, it's not out of the realm of possibility that we could actually be designed to be with multiple women. So they're not getting it out of nowhere, but it's not for me. But I could imagine why some men would absolutely say, you know what, this is how I feel. And if you're being honest about it, then I don't see an issue with it.
All right, go ahead, M. White.
No, I actually agree with Clout and Trev. I didn't combine y'all names to Trout. My fault. I agree with Clout and Trev. Second week in a row. Yeah, Clout. I think he was explaining. He explained it well. We had did a video a while ago about it was a show on Jubilee called Alphas versus Betas, and in that video, what they were describing was men who visibly, it appeared, had higher levels, all had this desire and appeal to have multiple women. And the men who didn't, there were some men who traditional values had encapsulated that, so it had nothing to do with testosterone. It was more to do with the ideology. But then there was another sect of men who did not want multiple women based off they never had the desire at all, ever in their entire life. So I thought that was interesting. And they said that they felt pressured by men to want more women, when the men on the opposite end said they felt pressured to want less women, to be monogamous. So I think it did, like Trev said, it depends on the individual, right? and everybody has an individual approach. It's an outfit. You put it on, you got to wear it. Just make sure it fits you the right way. Don't be concerned about what these other people say, and do what's best for you. Be honest, like Trev said, and there's no wrong way to go about that. You know, just do what's best for you.
All right. Go to you, Murph. What are your thoughts about this, man? So many conversations about, it's immense nature.
I'm gonna speak on it from two different perspectives. In the masses, majority rules. Based on what was said by Cloud, because I am a man, I can solely agree because of that category I'm in. We all men. But I myself believe that some of us are in a small percentile minority where we just different. And it comes with that level of, some people don't look at life differently. Everybody looks at it differently. Spirituality, you got mental, you got emotional, you got just a physical form. So I really believe that for me, listening to the conversation, he said he had some good key points, but when it's all said and done, I know some women that, and they, again, biologically, some women in a between 40 and 50 are more sexually active than men. I mean, that's the actual, fact. Everybody sexuality is different based on their age, based on their religion, their faith, their mindset, and where they are. The whole thing with my two brothers was talking about with the honesty part was, I believe a lot of people so big on being honest with other people. We got to be honest with self first. Some people don't even know how to be honest with self, so they can't even be honest with others to address the particular subject we're talking about. Like, you can't even, I see so many men and women partaking in different things sexual, and they're not even honest with themselves, with their own actions. So I think it starts with that first. It's so many levels when you talk about this particular subject, because the word, to me, when you say the means, it's a mental means, it's a physical means, it's an emotional means, and then it's a spiritual means when it comes, and it's also a physical means, because, like, your brother stated that, some women have a higher sex drive at certain times, some men have a higher sex drive than men, and so forth. So I think it goes back to what what my last brother just said. It's an individual thing. It really comes down to your individuality and your makeup, and you being honest with self on what you're trying to do. I think that's the base of it all. When you break it all down, he made a comment about, men can have more, men can procreate more than women. See, women, if you know what ovulation is, they ovulate a lot more than the average man would be accustomed or understanding. So a woman can have 100 kids if she wanted to in a lifetime. But that, then we look at society and different things of that sort that dictate, again, it goes to the strains and the things that we've been brainwashed and accustomed to, adhering to. Again, it's a lot of percentile of us men, especially in our culture, that we don't go according to the rules or the powers that be. So again, I just want to get back to what my brother said. Individuality and being honest with self is where it starts.
Well, and why, like, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say I can have 1,000 kids in 9 months, so probably more than that. Shit. So
That's true. That's true. That's true. You can't.
That'd be a lot of kids. All right, go ahead, Kenny P. What are your thoughts about that, man?
Monogamy. Western world, we're supposed to be evolved as beings, and we're supposed to adhere to certain rules that they say that we're supposed to follow. Is it natural? No. If left without the construct of what they tell us we're supposed to do, if you bring up Brother Kenny,
and you're on the other continent, it's okay to have 3, 4 wives if you could afford them and keep them in the comforts that's necessary. He said that was a tradition from spoils of war, like men didn't come home and you had to keep the village. But that's been the theme through the beginning of time. When I conquer you, I'm conquering your women as well and getting you up out the way. Just like when a lion comes into a new pride and he's the top lion, he kill all the cubs. My lineage has to go further. If it's natural, depends on who beholds it. I can have a Hotep brother up here telling me I can have 3, 4 wives and live a polygamous lifestyle because I got my sovereignty in the United States of America. And I was like, could you file taxes for all of them? Could you claim all of them on your tax? No. I understand different strokes for different folks. Who am I to judge? But I'm a believer that it's not natural. But I can't tell you what to do in your household. You're gonna do what works for you at the end of the day. And shout out to you and all your 4 wives. I digress.
So, Kenny, do you think a lot of men are actually, because I'm hearing a few gentlemen on the panel are saying that they don't think it's in our nature to be with one woman, that they want to be with multiple women. Do you think a lot of men are actually speaking up on that within their households and letting the woman that they are with or their wife that they know that this is what they desire?
No. You want a happy household? There's no such thing. I don't believe in happy wife, happy life. But I believe in omission is not a lie. You want to live a course, and that's for the married brothers and brothers that's in relationships. Why would you want to try to disrupt the household? Because you already agreed to something, and if you're biblical and you put on that ring, you swore your oath to love one and one alone, for rich or for poor, for sicker and in good health. So that's a contract that you abide by. So now when you want to change the dynamic and go back to what is natural, if Shannon knows this well, that's a breach of contract, isn't it?
All right, go ahead, Brother Hank.
Look, I ain't gonna say I disagree with Clout. I mean, there was a time in my life, I guess I did, or I probably would. Well, let me say, I wouldn't have 4 wives. Fuck that shit. My bad. Yeah, I wouldn't have 4 wives, but 4 different women, girls, yeah, ladies I'm dealing with, yeah, I ain't got a problem with that. But 2024, he ain't doing it. I ain't got the patience for dealing with multiple wives. Now, I wouldn't even want that. They motherfuckers would give me headaches, get on my goddamn nerves, and I want that goddamn menstrual cycle to sync up, and then I really be dealing with some issues, all that goddamn estrogen in my goddamn house. I ain't with it. I love my peace. And dealing with one wife, at least I got an opportunity to get some peace. I couldn't imagine dealing with 4 different personalities and have to deal with that drama. I ain't with it. But I understand what, men of a young age, they probably got, different level of patience. The patience is a little bit more tolerable, a little bit more acceptable. So I ain't gonna sit there and say it's not something that I probably wouldn't did back then, but now, no. As far as another thing what Clout was saying is monogamy. I don't think I don't think guys really want that. I mean, if it's more acceptable, I think more people will be doing it. I really do. But since it's not acceptable, it's looked down upon, so I think that's why the numbers are really down. But some of these women, y'all may not realize y'all in those type of relationships regardless. The dude just ain't broke the news to you yet. That's it.
All right, go ahead, Shan.
I wish Clout was here tonight. Is Clout in the chat? I wish he was here so I can get some clarity on what he said. He talked about 2 different things in his video clip. he talked about relationships and monogamy, and then he talked about the suppression of sex. So, fellas, when it comes to relationships and monogamy, men do want relationships. They may not necessarily want marriage. And so in Clout's speech, he was using the word relationship, and maybe that's because that's what was asked of him. And in terms of the marriage part and getting locked down, I believe I'm with Clout on that. I am with Clout. I think that if men had the opportunity to choose to be locked down, especially legally locked down, like with a contract, enforced or ordained by the state, men would opt out of that. If they can get everything that they would get in a marriage without the contract, I believe that most men would be like, well, what do we need to get married for? We could just do what we're doing without necessarily being married. I'm with Clout with that. But if Clout is speaking on men don't want relationships, I don't necessarily believe that part. Men do want relationships, and I don't want us to conflate the two. So, a man he has the innate desire to have a woman and have that woman be a part of his household. I personally believe that. And because in that same talk that he was touching on monogamy and polygamy. See, I personally, now I get it. I hear it all the time that brothers are saying polygamy is okay, there's natural and there's normal. I talk about this. You guys hear me say it every once in a while. There's natural and there's normal. Okay, normalizing something is what society puts on you. Natural is what's baked in the cake. I personally do not think the male human being is polygamous. I don't believe that it's natural for a man to want to have a harem of women. I think that it's normalized, and I think that's a societal thing. I think that is a cultural thing. And it may have been a culture that was established for whatever reasons back before the agrarian era, back 1,000 years ago, and different tribes and whatnot, and men and the spoils and of war, and we took their women and children. And I get what the lions do and the lion in the animal kingdom. I get all of that, man. I don't think that sentient human beings, not lions, somebody that knows that they're here, wants to have a harem of women running around in his household. Now, under the circumstances of his culture, that may be that may be something that he wants, but I believe that that's normalized for him. And so, on the flip side, he was talking, and let me go ahead and talk about the suppressing of sex. Men want sex, though. He absolutely does want sex, and I believe Clout was talking about, like Low T said, I believe he mentioned like older guys, their testosterone tends to drop, so they want to get into relationships. No, that's not necessarily the case. For me, I have a high libido, I have a high testosterone, so I'm good. But I get what he's saying. A lot of guys get my age, I'm 52, so a lot of guys get lazy, fat. They ain't thinking about it no more. They didn't have their days of sex. Their testosterone drops. You really kind of don't produce any new testosterone after age 35. So, those guys aren't really into sex like that. But understand something, man. Even for the older guys, and I'm not like trying to, cheerlead for them, but because a lot of them just simply can't hack it in the bed. Like he said, most older guys is one and done, but sexual desire is the most powerful human emotion. And the human mind is, it responds to that stimulation. And so even for young guy, even for the older guy, he wants sex. And to suppress that, as Clout said, for women to say, you need to have some dick discipline with my woman, I got to have some dick discipline. I got to behave. I got to calm down with my girl. People talk about, when you're in marriage, should you schedule sex? Should you and your woman, remember date night? We all hear about date night. Date night is really originated around sex night. and that's the night that the husband can get some from his woman, because he did something for his girl, take her out to a dinner or whatever, and then she would bless him with sex, and then he had to wait till the next Thursday for the next date night to get some again.
What?
See, I'm not with that. I believe date night, and I know how it's framed. Oh no, this is the night that we're supposed to get to know each other, and we go back to our roots of how we were when we were dating, because we got into the monotony of life, and it got so we want to kind of keep it young. No, that's the night that a lot of guys do date night so they can get some pussy from their woman. And I believe that men should get sex on demand, any time of the week, whenever he wants. Because why would you want to suppress your man from having sex? Now, men seldom succeed in life before age 40 because of their pursuit of sex and women. They're clouded by it because they're horn dogs at that age. And men over 40 focus on other things. And that's what I think Clout probably didn't get. And so he thinks it's about low testosterone. I think men over 40 is like, man, I got other bigger shit to do than to be worrying about chasing some tail like I was able to do when I was 25 or 35. Hold on a second. So when you're a sex-driven guy, you're just as bad as a drug-driven guy. But understand something, man. When you're driven by the desire of having a woman, when you're driven by the desire of sex or knowing that you're going to get it, men develop like a keenness. We get imaginative, man. We start, shit goes good for us in life. We get courage. We get power. We become more persistent with the things that we do, and our creative abilities start to kick in. And women don't seem to understand that. A lot of women don't realize if you keep your man sexually satisfied, things go typically well in the household. But because for women, it's about me, she's not thinking about that. And listen, history is filled with records of men who had some great achievements. As I told you guys, I always mention Napoleon Bonaparte with his wife Josephine. Man, when he knew his wife Josephine was back home waiting on him to give him that good, Napoleon Bonaparte was undefeated. Man, he was out there conquering motherfuckers. He was killing. He was undefeated, driven by the fact that he knew that Josephine was waiting at home for him. That's no different than your man. Ladies that's watching the show, that's no different than your husbands, ladies. If he knows that he can have you on demand sexually, your man will be invincible out there in the world as well. Do not give him the opportunity to want to be with more women in a polygamous relationship because you are using sex as a weapon. So I'm with Clout when it comes to suppressing sex. Oh, you should behave. You should have some discipline. I should have dick discipline with fucking a whole lot of different women out here and being single and being a hound dog and running through a bunch of chicks in the city. I wouldn't want that for my sons. I don't want it for young guys now, but I shouldn't necessarily have to have dick discipline with my wife. No man should necessarily have to have dick discipline with his woman. That should be on demand when he needs it, anytime, anywhere. And if that was the case, we wouldn't be having this polygamous, monogamous conversation about what men want, because I think, like Kenny said, don't think it's natural for men to want a polygamous relationship. Men just want a good, solid woman. Me, I'm not. I have no interest in having a bunch of women. I'm with Hink, man. I ain't got time. More of you? Oh no, I can't handle that. One is enough for Shan. One's enough. But I need what I need when I need it, and you won't have to worry about nothing else. And I believe that that's the case for most men.
Shan, did you always feel this way, or did it change as you got older?
Always felt that way.
So you never was like, man, I got like a rock. You never was that guy.
Never was the guy that wanted more women.
That had like
a roster.
Yeah.
Oh, a roster? No. Never. And never cheated on a woman either. I never had the need to. And I was in a fraternity. I was young. I was fit. I was that. I'm 6'2". I was the guy, right? still didn't have the desire because I didn't need it. Because I was business minded. I was driven for entrepreneurship. I had shit going on. Like, I think a lot of guys that may not necessarily have anything going on or have a low IQ and just don't know what the fuck to do, and they know they can conquer a bunch of women, they do that. But there's issues in that, and you got to go back to more psychological issues with that. I think a guy that's psychologically sound is not interested in knocking down a whole bunch of women that he can do for the rest of his life. He may do it because he's driven by his boys and that's what's talked about in the locker room. And it's like, oh, nigga, you hit that, that kind of thing. But a guy that's not driven by peer pressure, Marcus, that doesn't have that didn't have any childhood trauma or something that going on that makes him want to, do that with a lot of women. I don't think he naturally at any age wants to have a harem of women just to have sex. No, I think if we had one good solid one, we'd be good.
I want to ask you something because I'm on the other side of your spectrum. I'm the same age as you, and I did the business thing 2 degrees. But then I did the opposite of you. I have many women. I'm the typical have a gang of baby mamas, have a bunch of children, beautiful children. I've been a dad to all of them. I've been successful in different areas. And speaking on what you said, I agree with you, but then it goes back to what I was saying about because we're individuality rather saying, and that certain percentile of great men, you sound like a brother that you was different than the pack. You stood out. You were over here. And I think a lot of brothers like yourself speak on it starts with the base of maybe your upbringing, your philosophy, like you said, your psychological upbringing. Me, I speak on coming from, again, the hood, being brainwashed as a child and then as a teenager, being succumbing to my environment and things of that sort sometimes dictates the majority. If we know our brothers that are locked up, brothers that have died and been through different things like that, sometimes we have to look at the majority. The minority, the minority doesn't rule, the majority does. I wanted to speak on definitely what you're saying, brother, because it starts all with, like you said, philosophically, mentally. It starts there. Like you said, I don't see any men that are mentally strong wanting to, like you said, my brother said, how deal with multiple women, have multiple wives. Nobody mentally wants that because they understand what it would take and what they would be giving up with self. Mm-hmm. So I agree with what you what definitely saying with the philosophical thing. I'm on the other spectrum, and then I agree with you. For myself, speaking for me only, my culture, the negative part of my culture, my environment, and my foundation dictated me to, be in the world of the streets or the world of playing the game, as we say. So it led me to do a lot of different things that that were unruly. That were not of a king. That's what I always tell people. When people say, "Well, you did this and this," I said, I wasn't behaving as a king. I think a lot of us have that acknowledgement and that growth we have to have. I mean, I went a different route than you did, but I think that strengthened me later on. I'm kind of where my brother is now, like what he just said, like having 4 women and have to deal with all 4 of their attitudes and their wants and their needs. It's enough to deal with self. I always tell people, you don't 100% know yourself. You still gradually learning self alone. So imagine having to learn someone else. And then we talk about polygamy, to learn 2 or 3 other people at the same time. It's a mental, spiritual, emotional task. I think that, like I said, is not natural and not normal.
All right. So this is why I disagree with y'all at, right? So I also had a lot going on as far as working towards my career and getting to the bag, right? And I still made sure I found time to do what I wanted to do as far as what you call like a harem. It actually was Like, so I had reward centers. So I would eat at the end of the day after I accomplished what I need to accomplish. And then the women was at the end of the day too. So I prioritized that to the last 2 to 3 hours of my night, if I had 2 to 3 hours. And if I went a while without being able to do that, bro, I was feeling like I didn't get a meal. Like it was biological. It's biologically wired. I don't think it may have some correlation between the way we discuss it, how open we would be as men about it in the locker room and all that, but the actual urge and desire to, that shit is, in my personal opinion, for me, that shit was biological. And I think the other thing is I've always maintained a relationship where I never really dealt with the attitudes of women like that. So that's not really a factor in the way I rationalize how I would have to, like, everybody would get on the same page or you wouldn't be there. And then put somebody there that would be on the same page and then we could move forward. If you can't get on the page, you can't be here. So this whole different attitudes and all that, like, no, that's not really how I would view things. So I think that's a nuance to that perspective, because that's not really been my experience, if that makes sense.
So no, it makes sense. So I'm gonna speak to, I'll go backwards and I'll start with you, Marcus, in that Merv. See, when you say it's biologically wired, Marcus, is the sex biologically wired? The answer is yes. Or are you telling me sex with multiple women is biologically wired and you believe that you needed to screw Carla, Latrice, Sharon, Tanya, and Caitlin all in the same week? That's biologically wired. See, I don't think that's biologically wired. I believe that you did need to knock something down, though. But I don't think you needed to necessarily knock it down with 6 different chicks in 7 days.
So after you had sex with the first girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever run through that portion of your life where, all right, you wanted something different? Like you had sex and then you want something different. You ever been through that motion, or no? You just want to have sex with the same person and it just was repetitive?
Because right, I agree with what he's saying. He's saying basically the person is, and the individual that you're having sex with is different. So that's a different desire.
Yeah, and based off of that, it was like monotonous if it was the same before, like actual relationship feelings was involved. So when it was you could fall in love with somebody and then have repetitive sex, but it's more than just sex. I'm strictly speaking to the biological need.
No,
after you usually have sex with somebody, especially if you're not in love with them, you don't really want to be around them or by them at that moment. And but here's the rub. If you met another woman that same night, even though you might not want to have sex, you might want to have sex with her. Whether you do or not is not the point. What I'm speaking to is the biology that trumps the feeling of monogamy. That as far as been my experience. I can't speak for nobody else. I can only speak for how I interpret the world.
I understand what you're saying. I'm just the argument that I would have with that is, if it's biological, you wouldn't have grew out of it because you're married now.
And I get what you're saying. That what you just said, Shan. I get where he's going with it, because biologically another woman can arouse you, so it can take place. So like I said, if you meet 5 women in one night, technically 3 or 4 of them could arouse you to where you would want to physically have sex with them. It has nothing to do with, like, it's only biological. It has nothing to do with mental or an emotional or a spiritual connection with that individual. It's just a physical thing, because you see maybe this woman is built different, maybe this one more prettier, or maybe see your vibe or energy is different.
I understand what you're saying, Murph, but I'm simply saying, then when one woman comes along that blows your mind to the point where you want to marry this one and you want to be with this one only, then what you're gonna have to explain to that wife is, but baby, biologically, even though I love you, I when I see this other chick, I want to fuck her too.
Okay,
and
so that goes on, right, but that goes on what you said. You said mentally, when a man, you said because me and you 52, when a man evolves and grows to the point where he can mentally and emotionally overcome his physical desires, he's then graduated to a certain level to where if he does marry a woman or meets a woman, he can mentally, emotionally overcome or have self-control to not fall victim to that physical desire or that nature.
So here's my thing. I've been head over heels in love and still had the desire and urge outside of that, and didn't even think about it until after. It's like, man, I'm tripping. I probably shouldn't have done that because my nature was fighting the nurture perspective, and I don't think you just grow out of it. Like Klaus said in the video, your testosterone decreases naturally as you get older, so things change, and you absolutely can. This 2024, bro, in this day and age, you can have whatever type of relationship you want if you set that shit up right. Now, will you go advertising all over the place? Maybe not, because ain't nobody business. But you literally can still have whatever type of relationship that you want to have.
That's not the argument. That's not the argument. I'm not arguing about what we could do today with today's technology and the conversations we have with our women. I'm simply saying that I don't think it's biological.
They don't think it's natural.
I'm hearing
you saying they don't think it's natural.
How about
Which
this?
part of biological do you mean, Shan?
Huh?
That the urge itself is not biological?
No, the urge itself is biological. I don't think it's biological to want to do it to Sharon, Kathy, Martha, and Tracy all the same damn week, simply because Tracy walked by you right after you just took down Carla.
Well, see, I think
you know what I think the problem is. So check this out real quick. Let's just put ourselves in a scenario, right? And I think that most men, if I had to guess a number, I'd say about 80% of men. Let's just say that you are in a strip club and every different type of woman that you've ever dreamed of is in this strip club, right? They are kicking all the rest of the men out, closing the doors, consequences removed. I think that a good 80% of men are going to smash them all. Consequences removed. No STDs. No pregnancies, no one's wives calling or nothing. You could just get away with smashing them all. I believe that 80% of men are going to take that opportunity to smash them all.
Yeah, but you know what's driven? What is driving the opportunity? It's not biological. What's driving the opportunity is the fact that this will never happen for me again. What's driving that opportunity is ego. The fact that I got this strip club and all these chicks in this motherfucker is the kind of chicks that I like, and I get to fuck them all with no consequences. Oh, I'm knocking them all down. Most men would do that, but they don't even doing that because of the opportunity, not because they naturally want to do that.
But isn't the urge, the energy and the vibe and the arousal natural?
It's the ego in men. I mean, it's literally the reason why we fucking are go get her number, homie. When we were kids, go get her number. Go get her number. It's the push. It's the societal culture that drives the opportunity to be at Magic City in Atlanta and to be able to screw the best strippers in there with no consequences. It's the fact that you don't do that. But here's the question: would you? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so if that's the case, I think that the ego helps you get over the initial insecurity, rush, or hesitation to move forward towards the woman. The actual feeling exists before you even take the dive, because especially around 12, 13, 14, that's when you learning how to interact and holler at women. That requires courage that some men never develop, and you need a push. So the ego is the thing that gets you over the hump. The urge is behind it. That's why you'll see a lot of men who never get that courage, who don't ever get past that point, but that urge is still there. And you'll find them fantasizing and creating fake relationships in their head with women and all type of extra weird shit because they still have the urge, whether the ego is involved or not.
If that was the case, it would play out with most men who don't need to get married wouldn't do so. But men who don't need to get married, like you, Marcus, still do. Men men that
when did I get married? I got married about children. It was about I want to give my wife everything, but it also was about kids, bro.
But you could have procreated without getting married. The point is there was still a commitment to your woman. It wasn't just you didn't marry your woman and say, I'm marrying you, but I'm only marrying you because I want to have some kids with you. If it wasn't for the kids, I wouldn't marry you.
But Shan, I think
you also fell in love with her as well. Go ahead.
I think that's when, again, like I said, if you put what he's saying at the nature part, and then as you grow from adolescent to adulthood, the mental and emotional part of being a man overcomes or stabilizes the physical nature.
I get
So
it.
if I'm naturally a caveman, or I'm naturally going to do something, as I grow mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, I'm going to learn to have self-control, and I'm gonna get to a place where I'm going to control my nature. Because again, our nature also is to conquer. A man's
No, I
nature to
get that.
conquer.
It is.
We get to
It
a
is.
point where we stop conquering because I believe of the mental, spiritual, and emotional growth.
Yeah, I get it. But to conquer a bunch of women is not natural. So here's the thing. So hear me out. And even with Marcus's history in his adolescence, it's probably similar to yours, Murph. So understand something. The mentality that you gain as you get older, the wisdom that you get, when you realize, like, what was I doing? Like you yourself, Murph, you mentioned a few keywords. You said unruly. You mentioned the negativity that you were around when you were you mentioned that you was in the streets. You also said the word brainwashed, right? You established your environment to actually quantify one of the reasons why he was knocking them down in your 20s every week, right? I get that.
Right.
You get older, you have to ask yourself now this. If I can go back in my 20s knowing what I know now, the 52-year-old version of Murph, if the 52-year-old mindset of Murph can go back, would he do the exact same thing all over again?
I would, because I mean, it wouldn't. I would, because it goes back to what he said. I knew it's in my nature also to want to conquer, want to
So then why stop?
procreate, to want to
why stop? Then why stop?
Shannon, the only thing I would have changed
I
is
stopped because it goes back. I said I stopped because I'm at a higher mental, spiritual, and emotional state to where I don't allow my nature.
I just said that you got the same. You know what you know now. You just go back in age. You said you would still go do the same thing.
I still would go do the same thing because I believe. Okay, I'll say. Let me explain it. I'll say you can't. You gotta go through the nature part of life in order to evolve, the evolution part of it. The evolution part of being, I think, a man is you're going to be natural first. Your creation, you're born, you're natural. As you grow, you then become you become emotional, then you become mental, and then you conquer spirituality. The first thing you're born with is your physical existence. Then it's emotional, then it's mental, then it's spiritual. To me, that's the order it goes. I think what my brother's saying is that the physical and the nature side never goes away. It's just that as you grow and evolve, you then have emotional and mental fortitude or stability to suppress the physical or the nature. Because the nature, if biblically think about it, biblically it's our nature to conquer and kill one another. That's our nature. To best the next. To as you said, you use Napoleon as a thing. His whole nature was to conquer. That his being, his essence of who he was to conquer. And I think that's all men, to conquer. But as you grow and evolve, you then have to include your emotional state to that, your mental state, and your emotional state. I mean, spiritual state to where you don't want to do that to the next man or
Murph,
this is next.
Let me ask you a question. Shan asked you if you had the ability to go back in time and do it all over, you would do the same things that you did.
Because I believe, yes, I would. I believe in lessons. Those lessons and blessings, it helped me be who I am today. I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for the getting knocked down or getting robbed or robbing somebody or whatever. Those trials and tribulations or those tests and testimonies wouldn't help evolve you into the person you are today. So a lot of us, we always, the saying is, if I could do my life over again, I could do something different, I would.
I would be okay. No. So let me ask you a question. Being that you put it out there, you have how many different baby mothers?
I have 14 baby mamas,
You have 14 baby mamas.
18 kids,
So-
35 to 6.
Okay. And you speak reverently about it. You just heard that.
Yeah,
So
I'm
I know you
open and
proud.
honest with it because it's a okay. I'll tell you, I had to get to a point at the evolution to where I became. I felt like I was let me see, a heart disease to my community. I was the disease to my community.
Okay.
Then I had to get to a point where I wanted to become, medicine to my community. So I evolved to where I spoke on it because not enough brothers speak on the things they go through to make them be the person they want to become. So
Okay.
that goes back to evolution.
Okay, this is a non-judgment zone, Murph.
Oh
You
yeah,
did what you
definitely.
did. You was out in the streets. You was living your life. You was slinging raw penis, north, south, east, west. Now, we had prior discussions about a man. You were probably back in the days if you was doing your thing, you had money, you had means, pretty much, right?
Yeah, because I'm gonna say this just as much as I was slanging penis is like slanging dope. It's like slanging hope. It's like slanging anything that's an ideal, anything that's a product or a service. Slanging is slanging, which is selling. So that's our essence of entrepreneurship in this. I'm gonna speak on another level on this American society we live in. We told to sell. We taught to sell. We brainwashed to sell, sell, sell.
Okay,
So
Murph, let me
I
ask you
fell
a
victim to
question.
that.
Okay, so now with all those relationships, you said 14 children?
No, 18. 18.
18. How many baby mothers?
18. 14 baby mamas, 18 children.
So now I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you think you left any broken homes and fractured women along the way of you living your lifestyle?
Yes,
And
for sure.
You said
For
if
sure.
given the chance, you would repeat that?
I will repeat it because again, what we as men in our culture to understand sometimes, when I would give y'all a story. When you victimized, does being victimized make you weaker or does it make you stronger? Do you learn from it or do you grow from it? I believe, and I tell people all this time, the bad things that happen to you are for a reason. And we can debate the reasoning behind it, but when I look at life at 52 and spirituality, nothing's going to be all good. You have to know what, in order to know what happiness is, you have to know what sadness. You have to know in order to know what something truly feels good to you, you have to know what something truly hurts. It's a yin and a yang, and there's a balance to it all.
Okay,
so I believe that yes, I would never. I've hurt, but I've also helped, and I think that's what makes me human, because we're all flawed.
Okay, I got that point, but given a chance at redemption, you could turn back the clock, knowing that good, bad, and indifferent. Because I do disagree with what you said, because not everybody gets up from being broken. There's certain people that don't have the intestinal fortitude to get back on their feet after something.
I agree with that, but let me answer your question about a broken person. I think spiritually, a broken person that remains broken, let's say a person remains broken to their 90s or what have you, their energy has reached out to someone and helped that individual, and not knowingly, again, because spiritually, I've read the Bible and the Qurans. I've read a couple other things as well. The energy we give out to people sometimes helps others, and we're not even knowing that we've touched somebody's life and helped them through something. So a person that's hurt, that person that, I would give you an example, that one neighbor that's evil older man. I give you an example. I've met a white person in their 90s that's naturally racist. And I've seen how his energy has educated and energized people around him because they've been affected by his words or his movement. So I really believe that we can't have everybody healed. Can't walk around with a planet of humans. It's not even that's created where everybody's healed. Then we have to have hurt in order to have healed and people that have never been hurt. I think that's the the balance of humanity.
Brother, when
Now,
I hear you speak, there was a line in Lauryn Hill's song from Forgive Them, Father. Everyday people, they lie to God too. So what makes you think they would lie to you? You're rationalizing and giving an opportunity, rationalizing, making broken homes, and then giving the opportunity to wind back the clock. You said you would do the same thing over. And at a point in time, when you're doing drugs, drugs are wrong. You understand? And you're affecting somebody. So now, at what point in time, when you are impregnating all these women, did your conscience kick in and say, I need to ease back because I know I'm not doing right and I'm not going to be with these women. I'm afforded a lifestyle. So now I'm going to keep it going as long as I could. Well, at what point did your conscience, or was there truly something that made you have to halt your pace as for what you were doing?
Of course, what made me had to hold my pace is when I was on my second or third child. I was riding in my car with my 2 children in the back seat, and somebody shot up my car, and I lived to tell about it, and so did my children. So let me answer your statement. So I'm not rationalizing anything. Rationalizing something and the reality of what it is two different things. I don't feel like if to want to hurt somebody is the different thing to know that the reality of it. I just feel like everything happens for a reason, and because I'm human, and I believe my spirituality believes that the Creator created the things the way they are and laid the path before me, and I just walked it. So that's just me personally, what I believe. So because of that belief, that's why I make that statement. I'll say that. The rationalization of doing somebody wrong, and I don't believe in knowingly to do something wrong, do somebody wrong. Now, if there really was a time machine where I can go back, I would maybe if I could pick and choose. But again, me knowing that it wouldn't make me be who I am today, would you change some of your mistakes if it would change who you are today? That would be my question I would ask you, because it would change who you are now.
Okay, I would like to have the opportunity for reconciliation for certain things that I did, but you just told me something and it stuck on me. You said I had the come to Jesus moment on my second or third kid, but yet I had 15 more after that.
Yep. Because it goes back to what you stated. You stated about, you stated drug. So I always tell people, so we're like my brother Shane was saying earlier, it's psychological warfare with us as men. Our culture is real. I tell people all the time. I feel like I was just like a crackhead is addicted to crack or heroin. I was addicted to sex at that moment. So then it it goes back to what you were asking me, would I go back and do something different? I don't think I was doing anything. I think it was doing me. Let me say that. Let me say it to you like that. I think the essence of my nature was controlling what I was mentally thinking about, emotionally feeling, and I wasn't connected spiritually to myself. I was literally living off of a nature. I was, getting back to the subject at hand. I was being natural. I was just going around being a male. I won't say a man, a male. A male is, I'm being a male. I'm connected with a female and I'm procreating. I'm doing that in the bare minimum of what it means to be a male naturally. And I think in a lot of discussions that I hear about people having, there's a difference. We always talk about men, and we don't have discussion the difference between a male and a man, because a lot of men acted in their lifetimes as just simple males. You weren't being a man; you were being a male. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I say, and that I hold myself accountable. Like when you ask me, would I go back again? I can't. Some people, like you said, you said the word certain. Yeah, certain people that I felt like maybe if I said this to them, they maybe would have went left and their life would have changed. I could go back. But how would it have affected my life or someone else's? Because again, when I did somebody wrong, I know for a fact when I did a bid, I had two or three younger cousins that it saved their life because I went to jail. So it's a domino effect with it all. I believe what we do great and what we do horrible in life, it's a ripple effect. I believe it's just like throwing a rock into a pebble into an ocean or into a river. You got ripple effects, and then everybody's affected by it, good and bad.
Okay, when you were at kids 6, 7, and 8, before Sweeney jumps in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did any of those women ask you if you had kids? I'm sorry, Hank.
Yeah. Let me speak on this. This has something to do with the whole subject of monotony. Monogamous, being monogamous. Yes, I was 100% honest with everyone. I've always been 100% honest with my children. When I got to the age of 22, because I started searching out spirituality, and I felt the need to be honest that way, and also in the sense of that way I could be in the sense of saying, I told you, so you signed up for this, so you decided to deal with me. Whatever you got out of it, if it didn't go your way, I was honest with you and with myself, to where if the outcome didn't match what you wanted to, was you couldn't fault me because I was honest with you. So yes, I would say from my 5th child on, every woman I dated, matter of fact, any woman I date today, I let them know that first and foremost that I'm a father of this many children and I have this many baby mamas, and I tell them a brief summary or synopsis of my life, and that's to be honest with not only self but with them, with moving forward and trying to build and procreate or do whatever we choose to do. But yes, I just think when it comes to what we're talking about for as monogamy, and we're talking about the nature of a male, I think that's where we gotta, the wording has to make sense. I think the nature of a male is to sleep with a female. That's our nature. Now we got other different subject matters where it says this is not a nature, because some people are born male and they naturally want to sleep with a male, or female naturally feel this way. I think again, the essence, when you're created as an infant, you're a blank piece of paper. I think the environment and what you absorb, the energy and the vibe spiritually dictates that. Because I say, if you get a 6-month-old baby, they don't know their sexuality. It's only what's the word I want to use? It's only directed as they become 6, 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And I'll end my statement in saying this. It's no different than, I remember I was told somebody, had a conversation with somebody about, they had a 4-year-old, and they was telling me, they was asking my advice. So father said, man, my 4-year-old little boy, he keep touching himself. Right. And I was like, well, that's normal. That's natural. He's trying to discover self. And I told them not to think anything like that. Not after, they was like, do I need to take my child, the 4-year-old, to a therapist? Do I need to talk to a doctor? I'm like, no, that's natural. Because he's discovering self. Self-discovery is the first thing you do before you discover others. And I think that's what it all boils down to when we talk about this subject of a man wanting monogamy and not. I think it's either something that your foundation or your family or your spirituality is embedded in you, or as you get older, you get to a point where you emotionally, mentally, and spiritually suppress the nature of not wanting that.
So, Mark, let me say this, my man. I appreciate you being transparent. Murphy, my bad. I appreciate you being transparent.
It's one of the same. Marcus Murphy is the same. They both on the same team.
Right on. I get it. But the problem is, man, it definitely sounds like you didn't learn your lesson, because when the question was asked, you said you you'll do it all over again. So there was no lesson learned in your decision making, and that's not good.
Let me
So
stop.
I
Let me
would
answer that real quick. It is because I wouldn't do it now. The lesson
I
is learned.
thought
I
you
wouldn't
said
do it now. I wouldn't do it now.
Can I rephrase, Murphy? Can I ask you a couple questions? You done, Hink, or no?
Yeah,
no, I'm
I
not.
wouldn't
No,
do it
I'm
now.
not.
Back then, if I could do it over again, I would, because I would want to go through the trials and tribulations to become the man I am today. You have to get to, okay, think about, again, I challenge everybody to think about this. If you went back and corrected 5 of the things you did wrong to somebody, would you be different now? Would it be for the better, or would you wouldn't know? There's no way of humanly possibly knowing that who you are today, you would be that same person. So
But
if you're happy
the
with who
scenario,
you are today,
but the scenario is if we did know what we did know now, right? That was the scenario. And the scary
right?
thing about it, you would do it all over again. So there's, like I said, there's no lesson learned. So you're willing to repeat the same mistakes, put yourself in the same situation, put yourself in the same predicament again. So you as
To
a
learn the
man,
lesson I learned from it. Yes, I would. I wouldn't want to. Why would I
yeah,
again
that's not good though.
I would want to learn that lesson. I would not want to not learn that lesson. I would want to go through that, because again, me hurting somebody taught me something. Because um it taught me something. It taught me something about myself and about others as well.
Yeah, but
I
we
wouldn't change
don't
that.
have to
I
go
wouldn't
through
change that.
we don't have to go through situations like that in order to learn lessons. You can learn it by other people's mistake. I shouldn't have to go through them for something.
Right, true.
For my
I
son
agree.
to learn.
But listen,
You
it's
understand what I'm
individuals
saying?
like right, individuals like
Why
yourself.
Hold on, Murph. You gotta let him finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
why go through that? And so you as a man, out of your kids, I assume you have some sons in there. I thought you said you had do you have any sons? So you have
Yes.
sons, and what if they take that same mindset? You're not gonna be able to tell them shit. They're gonna say, Daddy, I heard you on the show the other day. You said you willing to do the same thing over, regardless of what happens.
Right. So
You
I'm right. So
you're willing to repeat the same mistakes and do the same thing again in order to, to get to where you are, mentally. That's not good,
I
bro.
would explain to them and to you, like you just said. For instance, let's say you're my cousin or my neighbor or my schoolmate. Because I was I tell people this all the time. I'm gonna give y'all you can't be a superhero in the world. You can't be a leader if there wasn't a villain and the person that was there can't be any fix without destruction. Not saying that it's right to do that. I'm just saying that's humanity. I'm thankful. I tell people I'm thankful that the lessons I would repeat those things I did wrong, because they help the people I know that they helped. I have to look at it as
Murph, let me help you out, bro. Let me help you out.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you believe in abortion?
Do I believe in abortion? No, I do not.
So you made sure that you did not delete any of your children.
Not one.
I get that. I don't want to be pro-abortion. We know having all them kids is extremely irresponsible, especially if you have separated households. Because when we was talking about it earlier, one of the things I was trying to say was the framework in which it occurs. The kids need both parents, and if it's not possible for you to be in a household with both of them, then that wouldn't be what I was speaking to in my previous argument. But I get you don't agree with that, right? You understand how detrimental and harmful that was to the kids and the lifestyle you were living at that time. The environment that you grew up in made you think some things was normal because of the environment. Where you from?
I'm from St. Louis.
Right. So you Midwest. St. Louis. Right. I'm from Chicago. So we kind of got similar like neighborhood structures in both the areas. Right. So there's certain things that go on in the neighborhood, like where you from, that outside of there seem crazy as hell. Like if you grew up in an open air drug market, when people talk about selling drugs like it's regular, to somebody that didn't grow up in that or wasn't raised around it sounds like you just speaking completely off the rails. So right now you kind of speaking about I get the point you're trying to make. You're saying that, hey, I wouldn't change anything because I like the person I became through the triumph and the struggles. But let me rephrase this. If you could become that person without the same triumphs and struggles, would you change everything to still end up in the same spot with the
Then
same
yeah, of course I would. Of course I would. Then yeah.
That's better. Okay. So you're not
But
co-signing this
again,
man.
I know, like I said, I have two cousins that I have literally. I took a rap. Let me just say that we all brothers. I took a rap to save two other brothers that I thought were better than me. So I took a rap basically.
Hold on, let me translate this for you, because he's saying, for anybody that don't understand, that he felt that he was in a position where he couldn't make the best out of his life, and somebody else was in trouble. So instead of him letting that other person fall down, he said, you know what? Take all the weight and put it on me, and I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna do this for you so you can succeed in life. Is that what you did?
That's what I did.
So it seemed to me like your whole life was just taking the weight and then letting shit pile on and just saying, fuck it, I'm strong enough to carry everything, not realizing how destructive it was for you and the kids and people around you. But you was trying to carry it on some this how a man moves shit, because you was raised to think that whatever come your way, shit, I'm gonna shoulder this shit, put it on my shoulders, and I'm gonna walk with it. It's my cross to bear, no matter how deep it is. I'm gonna walk with this motherfucker. I understand it's not translating that way to everybody else.
And I'll say this to even open the panel mindset up with me, because I wasn't raised by neither a father or a mother. I was raised literally by the streets. I was running numbers. I was running packages. I had a grandfather, but all he did was spoil me, which was his job. He never taught me discipline. So I didn't learn discipline till later on in life. And when there's no discipline in a male that's trying to become a man, then there is no consequences. Then there is no structure, and there is no wrong and there's no right, and there's no reasoning, and that's because there's no foundation. So I always tell people the lesson I learned, again, like I stated, is you have to embrace your wrongs. You have to embrace your goods. You have to open your mind up to realize, when I did situation A to certain for this individual, I know I did wrong, but you have to pray to your creator and say, what good came out of this? And I think what we don't do as humanity, we don't really look at, again, I tell people all the time, using a parable, I always say, man, drunk driving is horrible. But when I hear about it, and you hear about an accident on TV, it make you say, shit, I can't do that. Certain things that we witness, hear, or come accustomed to, it's a wake-up call. So I always say, if somebody doesn't make a mistake, nobody can learn from it. We have to have mistakes in order to learn.
Before you took that rap for some other guy, how many kids did you have?
By the time I had three. I had three. My older daughter and two sons. Say it again.
Do you love? My question would be to you, dog. Do you love your kids? Because you put yourself in a situation where you wasn't gonna be there for your kids. You realize that, right?
Yeah. My three. But I
don't give a shit about you as a man who's a father who don't give a damn about you and allow that shit to happen. See, that's
so. Let me. But no, let me. I know I get it, bro. But let me tell you this. But listen. But you got to understand something. Let me break it down to you. When you know that you are a cancer to your community, good example. Like, I agree with you said. Do I love my kids? Like I said, I took the rap, and I thought to myself, if I don't take the rap and I continue to ride around doing all the dirt I'm doing with my kids in the back seat, the next time somebody shoot at my car, guess what? They're gonna take my kids. So sometimes you, as a man, as you become a man and you try to understand, you have to remove yourself, because if you are a cancer to any relationship to relate to somebody and you're the cancer, you have to learn to remove yourself.
So why did you remove yourself by changing your life instead of going to jail?
Because I didn't know how, because I didn't, because at that time, I get you, brother. You're talking about when you talking about a simple thing as of common sense. Common sense. The saying is common sense is not common. At that time in my life, I wasn't using common sense. I wasn't thinking. I wasn't using, again. I wasn't being mental. I was strictly being natural, being a male, being like I said, a cancer to my community. I wasn't trying to be helpful to no one.
Dog, I can't let you use those words because not all men would move like that. I didn't
say men. I said males. Males. See you, and I get what you're saying. That's not a man, brother. You're right. That's not a man. But that's the thing. The problem that I'm trying to convey to the verbiage. It's male versus men. When a male is moving around town killing people, that's a male. That's not a man. It's a male. He's a male species. He's a male species. He's a male human.
All right, let's go to Sweeney and then Treya.
What's going on, Murph? And I don't really want to try to bag on you too much, right? But
you good, bro? Hey.
But me and he pretty much align in lockstep on this. It is exactly that mentality where we say this is natural that creates that type of problem. Where we say, oh, it's natural for you to go out there and get as many women pregnant as possible, that creates this very type of problem. Because that's not natural. It is not natural to go out there and make a bunch of kids and in perpetuity and leave them. Let me not assume anything.
Let me ask you a question. Is it natural? Is it, when you say it's not natural, you're speaking from a mental state, or you talking about from a biological? When I'm speaking of a biological state, as a male, just a male species in humanity, it is my nature to connect with a female. I'm not saying that it's my nature mentally to make that mistake and do it and not have my ducks in a row or blah, blah, blah. And that's the part where I'm saying male versus man. I think it is unequivocally wrong for a man. If you think you're a man and you go out and have you want to go out and fuck a bunch of, I don't think that's correct. But if as a male nature being created as a male species in human, being in humanity, my nature is to be attracted to a female. Like my brother said earlier, you might have one night where you with one woman, you knock her down. As a male, you knock her down. You see another woman, she arouses, you knock her down. You see another one, you knock her down. So you didn't knock 3 women down. Mentally, you may not be wanting to do that, but by nature, being a male, you could, because you're aroused. It's that simple. It's that simplistic.
So, Murph,
not saying, go ahead.
So the thing is that we're sentient. We think. We have a mind for a reason. We're the smartest species on the planet for a reason. And part of that is because we're supposed to think through these type of situations. And with that argument, you're basically saying that, hey, like, okay, I get it. You wanted to knock down as many women as you possibly could.
No, it wasn't. It won't. It was a nature.
But it has to be a want. You can't say that it's like you have to want it
to be aroused. So my question would be: is to be aroused by a woman a want? I don't want to. Here's the caveat. I'm gonna give you an example because it's times that the majority of men I know or males I know have been around women that they were aroused by, and they may not, and the woman may not have been.
Hold on real quick, because you gotta kind of shut a mic a little bit. So if somebody asks you a question, just kind of shorten it up a little bit so the conversation can flow.
All right, I'll just say this. You can't add mentality to someone who's making decisions off of their physical state. That's what I'm gonna say. If you're not using your mind, we all know brothers that are not thinking when they do things.
But
it's that simple.
But here's the thing, though, is that's dangerous for society.
I agree.
Extremely dangerous. It's dangerous to have a bunch of men that don't think before they act. Because while want or otherwise, if you wanted to bag, or it was imperative that you bag 14, 16, 14 women, you didn't have to get them pregnant.
Right.
That wasn't your nature to get them pregnant. You didn't have to do that. That was a decision. That was a choice.
Right.
Especially considering, especially considering that we live in a period of time where you have the contraceptives to avoid that.
I agree. That's how you know. I always say, let me respond to what you're saying. That's why I know it wasn't it had to be a natural thing, because I got aroused and I did it naturally. It wasn't a smart decision, so I wasn't possibly using my intellect. And so, and what you're saying is, I agree with you 120%. But I'm speaking on, we're talking about, again, this podcast is about doing it, fixing things, and being positive and great. But the reality of what things are is totally also has to be recognized. And I just said the reality of it is it's a lot of our culture, Black men, that don't think before they do.
I'm gonna ask you a question, because I don't want to assume this. You said you have 18 kids, 14 women, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
If you have to gauge the state of your children, 10 being they doing extremely well, and 1 being they in the gutter, where would you, on a scale from 1 to 10, place your kids at?
It would be. It's funny. I always think things happen for a reason. It's funny you said that. Literally, what you just said is literally what it is. I only have one child that that's actually incarcerated. My rest of my children are either married or got businesses and doing their own thing and are amazing. And then I got, of course, like I said, 2 little ones. But I had one that because I wasn't able to be in his life in those important moments, he did end up more so like me. He went to jail, and I never wanted that for him, but that's what happened. So but the rest, no.
Sweeney, you finished or no?
Go ahead, bro.
All right, so I think that one of the major disconnects a lot of people were having was when they were asking if you would change anything. You focus more on the lesson, but my first thought would have been like, all right, well, I'm glad I had my children, right? And instead, where that would be more valuable. I just want to take this back because I kind of understand the frame of mind when I was talking about the strip club situation, remove the consequences. And I'm thinking that a lot of this happened not because the lack of consequences, but you not giving a damn about the consequences is just not like it's just like not having consequences. So this is how humans will behave minus consequences, left to our own devices. That's how people actually think sometimes. And it's unfortunate, but we're making it seem as if, it's a bizarre scenario. We understand that is wild. Fortunately, you were able to bring us to the table and go ahead and sit and be forthcoming about it. So we could discuss it. So I commend you for that. But this is how a lot of humans would behave minus their own devices. Left to their own devices minus consequences. If we really didn't think that these consequences would affect us, most of us are going to be out here wilding. We are scared of consequences. He had a lack of fear for consequences, and that's why he behaved like that. And there's no way to condone it. It was absolutely wrong as an adult. We know right from wrong, but this is what it looks like when you're not taught to care. When you sometimes don't have a good foundation, right? He said he was missing both fathers. Both parents, a father and mother,
and that's why I said,
right?
Shane,
raised by the streets. So
I wanted to agree with Shane. Yep,
it's not cool, but it should have us focus on the importance of being in our children's lives, right? So knowing that, I will leave you with this: just how important that is, and you realizing how it does and what it does to children who don't have the parents in their lives. Hopefully, it taught you that lesson of the importance of being in your children's lives, as difficult as it may be. Because if you're saying 14 BMs and 18 children, that's nearly impossible. I can't fathom a way to make that work. You know what I mean? I mean, all I can say is give it your best effort and try to give out as much game and wisdom as possible, because you can't undo it. We don't have a time machine. We can't do anything about it. But all I would say is, listen, devote as much time to your children as possible. Give them that wisdom, give them that game, just so they understand, and you could break the cycle.
Right, and I wanted to say, you know, I thank you for them words. I wanted to ask Shane something. If because it goes back to really the beginning of this whole subject matter. Because we're talking about nature. If you're not as a male becoming a man, or adolescent becoming a man, you're not using your mental, emotional, or spiritual self. You're only using your physical and only being natural. Isn't then doing the things that me and Mark was talking about, that's the only direction you're gonna go, because you're only being physical. I think humanity, males especially, when we're only just being physical, when we're only connected to our physicality, it's nothing but sexuality and doing. It's only it's sexuality as it comes to the forefront. I always used to joke, and I had a thing I should say. I'm gonna make it quick. It's kind of like the judiciary system, our Congress and our presidents. You know, we got three different branches. You got your physical state, your mental state, and your emotional state. But which one is running your government of life? And I think in different moments in our life, some men have allowed their physical state, their nature, to run their mental and emotional states.
Okay, Murph, real quick. When I asked you a certain question, that was the crossroads at that point in time, where you said you got it. Life gave you a message, and then you would do better from that point on. You said when, the bullets rained, something could have happened in your car, bang, bang, and so on and so forth. You said at that point in time, you got it. Words mean something, right? That was 2 to 3 kids in. And
Right.
I was trying to see if you could catch when you gave it, you put 15 more lives in this world of fractured homes. You said
so. Let me
got
address
it.
that.
Hold on. I
I
would
got
listen to everything. There's something called cognitive dissonance. At that point in time, you said you got it. You weren't telling the truth to anyone on this panel.
No, I was. Let me address. I got it.
Hold on. I'll give it to you right now. The room was given to you by Hink Sweeney. Marcus didn't do anything but to try to, ease the pain of the situation. I could give him that. You understand? And Trev also addressed it. What you're doing is rationalizing doing something that is as bad as saying that you shouldn't get life in jail for selling 100 bricks. If you get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying, but let me address what you're saying. When I said I got it, I meant it in the statement of, again, what we're talking about, the original statement we're talking about is nature. It's when I was only being physical. I got it when I had to start. That's when I said I went to jail and I had to use my brain. I had to start reading books. I had to switch it up. Now, when I got out, I was again, as they say, you can't read a book, you can't judge a book by its cover. I was just on chapter 1 and 2 at that time in my life. And then I had to go through overcoming not having parents, overcoming being imprisoned, and different things of that sort. So what I would do, and it goes back to what I was talking to my boy next to me. I can't see his name right now. He was saying that recognizing the wrong, like you just wrong, you doing it all wrong. I had to come to a point of acknowledgement and being humble and a point of humility. But I had to reach that. I only felt like I got it because I felt like I need to use my brain. I got the fact that I just can't remain being a physical, natural person or a human being. I have to become more. I have to be mental, emotional, and spiritual. After three children, I realized that I couldn't act or live as just a physical being. I had to become mental and tap into my emotions. And it took time. It took time to conquer each one of those.
Brother,
and I say to you,
you said you got it. You put it all together at your third kid, but you had 15.
No, I didn't say no. I didn't put it all together. I got that I could no longer be physical because the conversation we're having is it natural to go around and sleep with women? And I'm saying if you're not being mental or emotional or spiritual, you're naturally going to go around and sleep with women because you're not going to be thinking, you're not going to be feeling, and you're not going to be having some type of self-worth or soul to even understand what the outcome or the circumstances or the wrongdoing you're doing. Because think about it, if you're a human without a soul and you're not thinking and you're not feeling, you're going to go around just talking shit.
All due respect, you see what you're doing as for what you're putting out. I think that revolves in your head to ease the pain of what you're doing.
No, I'm only don't get it twisted. Let me say this. It is unequivocally 100% wrong. It is beyond it. But the reality of what we are, and again, I'm speaking to the state of us as black males being created. It's a lot of brothers that are only physical, walking around being physical. When we talk about people being asleep or lost, it's because they're not using their mental, emotional, or spiritual state.
Okay, brother, I'm one that grew up in that trauma. Our traumas are different, but we are somewhat in the same peach bucket. You understand? But I didn't use that. I was in that hustling game when I was younger. I was doing those things. You understand? But there was a point where I'm old enough to know right from wrong. And I know you just and we're using that benchmark of 2 to 3 kids, something that could have went real bad with the situation. You said you learned from that point on, but you didn't because you did it 15 more times. That's like, there was a movie that came out in the time of me and Shan's time called New Jack City. And Pookie got hooked on the pipe. He got clean, and then went back after he went to and then the brother said, "Nah, he ain't ready." You understand? And when
I agree, and that's what I'm saying. And that's why I said there was levels. That's why.
Let me land right quick.
Go ahead, land.
Pookie also told many different stories. I'm ready. I got you. And you know what he did? There was that classic scene in Shan Know It Well on the bed. Conflicted, got that jumbo crack in there, and you heard that crack,
and he snuck it, and he got high again. That's what I'm saying to you.
Hold on, that's what you're doing to us right now. And no disrespect, but every man here is listening. And listen, you've been through stuff. Salute you. But when you try to rationalize, and we're parsing it out. And you said you got the message at kid 2 to 3. Am I correct, Sweeney? 2 or 3, right?
I didn't say I got the again. More. Yeah, but that's what you. I think that's what you're not. The totality of my conversation. I'm trying to get you. You're not getting it. I'm saying to you, in order to overcome some of the trauma that we all go through, we all overcome things differently. It's levels. It's steps. You know, when you go to AA meeting, there's steps. It's a step for you to come there and sit down. Then there's a step for you to open up and communicate. Then there's a step for you can be a part of the class. And then there's a step till you graduate. I had to go through those steps. See, brother, you can't just, some people, I can't say you can't. Some people can. Some people can cut being off a dope just like that. They cut cold turkey. Some people, it's a step. Some people have to go to rehab. Some people have to go to rehab and then have to go to a therapist. It's steps to overcome. And I think when I said I got it, I was trying to tell you that I understood at that moment that I had to include the other things that make me up to be a human being, which is my mentality, my emotions, my spirituality. Because at the time of 3 kids, I wasn't tapping into none of that. I was only being physical and only acting in my nature and not acting as if I had like my brother said, a brain to make a decision. I'm making a decision, and I wasn't connecting with the fact that I made a decision. I was only connecting with that I was being physical. I was being nature, naturally being a male, going around doing this and that, not understanding that. So I think the first step for me was to get and say I got it, where I got to include those. Then the step had to be where you have to incorporate, because being a man doesn't just mean physically protecting a family. You have to also be mentally strong. You have to be emotionally stable. You also have to be financially stable. You also have to be spiritually cognate. I think you have to, those are steps. You don't just get all of it. And I think, and let me just say this, in the journey up to my last child, I got to the point where I was like, with my last child, where I was literally trying to just be a father and raise my child with a mother and make a family environment something that I found out through therapy that I craved. That went back to the foundation of not having a parents.
So Murphy, with that, have you tried to make an honest woman out of any of these BMs or no?
Yeah. I've been married 4 times.
Shit.
I've tried it, and I think.
What about Marcus? What about getting Murphy? I'm sorry, damn it, I apologize. What about What about getting a vasectomy? You never thought about that shit. You said fuck them.
I'm gonna be honest with you, because when I got to the point of my life when I was being mental and I was being emotional, the emotional and spiritual part of vasectomy I struggled with. To this day, I realized that I didn't even have to reach. I didn't have to tap into my mental or my spiritual to not understand that I just felt like it was something I didn't want to do. Because if you feel like you don't want to do something, no matter what you think and what you believe, you ain't gonna do it. So where I'm at, even to this day, I learned that my mental state is enough for me not to. I don't even have to lay down with a woman and put myself in that position unless I know me and that woman are in the position where we can take care of a child. So I won't even put myself in that position now. I'm at like my brother Shane said, you get to when you get older men, you have a better better description of what you want. I think that's what he was saying about, how his journey went. He was saying he knew early on, he had a better understanding of what he wanted, what his focus was. And I think it took me a long time to figure out what my focus was.
So Murphy, that we can't. I don't think we should just gloss over that, right? I think that's important information. At what point in your journey did you start to get married? Like, what was the time span? You're saying four marriages. Like,
let's not turn this into an intervention. I know. I
don't really want to do that, but I think that's important for context.
Yeah,
I don't take it as an intervention thing. Again, this is what I said. This is why I wouldn't do it over again. I wouldn't be able to have this conversation with 6 other brothers, and then other people hearing this journey and this testimony I'm giving. It's gonna help somebody. Or it's gonna open somebody up to say, man, I'm glad I didn't do this, or I'm glad I did this, or that's the point. That's really why I share my story with so many people because it's to get the positive out of it. I
Hey,
mean,
look,
I'm not trying to, he kept saying I was trying to I'm not rationalizing the wrongdoing. I'm just rationalizing the reality that it's a lot of brothers that are like me. And then we have to embrace them and help them get through those things. Because there's a lot of brothers I've helped myself.
hey Murphy, how long did they sit you down for?
Who?
The laws. How long did they sit you down for?
5 years. 5 long, it felt like 10.
And I mean this with all due respect. To Kenny's point, you said that your mentality started to change after the first 3 kids.
Mm-hmm. When I was in jail.
And then they sat you down for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing that not only am I struggling with, but if you was looking in the chat, they're struggling with as well. And maybe some of the other fellas on is that 15 more came after that.
Correct.
And so when we hear, oh man, I started to rethink my life and think over what's going on in my life, especially if they set you down when you had no access.
Correct.
You would think that you would come out on the other side better. But in this particular scenario, even if let's say for the sake of argument, you did marry 4 women.
Right.
You was married 4 times, that still leaves 10.
Right. So let me answer that. So again, let's say let me break it down to the people that don't know, like Mark was saying. You come from the Midwest. Let's say I'm a drug dealer, I'm selling dope. Then I go from selling dope to I leave dope alone, now I'm robbing. And I'm thinking I'm doing something better or different because now I'm not selling dope. I'm not getting nobody sick no more. But I'm just robbing from the people that got it, and I'm trying to give it to the people that don't. Then I do that. Then I say, I figure that out. Like, wait a minute, this is wrong too. So now I'm not selling dope and I'm not robbing, but now I'm getting a job and now I'm possibly scamming motherfuckers.
So
See, again,
Robin
I
Hood with
think
the penis.
Yeah, but I'm using it. I'm saying, let me get a good way of breaking it down to you guys. When I said again steps,
I can help you
think
out.
a lot of people don't understand.
No, Marcus.
What he trying to say? What he trying to say is this, bro. He's saying that his low was extremely low. So what he thought, growing up in the open air drug market, that drugs was normal, and he realized that, damn, I'm hurting people by selling drugs. I'm thinking I'm doing better by robbing, but I'm actually not. But the mentality I had at the time was so fucked up that I believed that by doing that, I was actually moving in the right accord because I was only robbing rich people the way I saw it. Not realize that those people deserve to have their stuff and you shouldn't be taken from nobody. And he moved through different phases of crime. It's fucked up and it's wrong. But what he's saying is he was trying to go straight and he didn't understand how to jump from A to B for whatever reason. I'm not saying he right or wrong, but
no, because it's all wrong.
I'm saying he's wrong.
That's like children. He's asking.
Hold on.
I'm not co-signing it.
And let me equate to that to the children. Why would I have more children? Because I was trying to do it differently.
Murphy,
See, the first 3 I had, I was being physical. Let's say I can't. I would have to sit down and think about it. But yeah.
All right.
I hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay.
I want to make sure I go ahead and just run this tape on that because I know we got far away from the topic. And then more about you, but let me go ahead and play this clip just so we can get this last 30 minutes in on this clip.
Yeah.
Are you pro monogamy or pro polygamous? Or polygamy? Is that?
I don't think monogamy exists. I think every once in a while you meet a dude and he only with his girl. Very rare. We are men. We, especially men who have means. If you're a man who has means, you have women. And if you say it ain't true, you're not being genuine. I know your girl probably watching, but If you could just think how sweet it would be if you could talk to your girl for real. Do you know the harmony that might be able to come from that? But you didn't pick a girl you could talk to for real. You picked a girl that you're willing to act for as long as you can keep her. That's what most people are in that situation. But we men, we got money, especially men who got money. You got girls. You can't not be with them. It's too many beautiful women in the world to just lie to one girl and be like, look, I'm only with you. That's some bullshit, man. Get the fuck out of here, man. I can't be with nobody like that.
Look at Murphy smiling. Shit. Go ahead.
With all due respect, that mentality is how we got Murphy for life.
I agree.
That mentality right there is how we got Murphy for life. And that's the reality of it.
No, Twinny, because I think similar to do, and I don't got no 14 baby mamas. I ain't creating no broken homes. That's causational, not causation. It's correlational, not causational.
And Marcus, in all due respect, you're not helping. You're actually hurting, because the man gave her point, and I know you didn't miss that point where he said he got a understanding. And from that point of understanding, you're starting from ground zero, recognizing he used biblical. So I would say God gave him a sign that, yo, dude, okay, let's tighten up and get it together. That he did not. He went on to create more fractured homes, four marriages that were not successful. I'm just pointing out. I'm not bashing. I'm pointing out what you put on the register, right?
I'm not talking about Murphy. I'm talking about the clip. In the clip,
that pertains to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because so when he jumped on and said, "This is an example of why this is prevalent," did he not?
He did. And my point to say is I understand the point he was making about why, more so to the point where he said you can be honest with, so you can tell the truth to your girl and you don't find yourself lying and pretending to be somebody you're not, as long as you can pretend to keep the relationship going. That was the premise of the clip. I wasn't trying to jump back to talking about Murphy life.
Okay,
I was focusing on the clip.
My bad, Marcus. Watch this. Marcus, my bad. Let's change the dynamic. Suppose things would have went otherwise with your basketball career. Millionaire, access to the elite, access to everything that you wanted. Would you be a faithful man?
I still had access to everything I wanted.
No. I was just come on.
So what I'm saying is, let me make it clear. What I'm saying is, being in a relationship where you can describe the type of fidelity or how you would like that relationship to go would always be the way I'm gonna go. So whatever however I move forward with my relationship is gonna be within honesty with my girl, with my wife, however that goes. So if polygamy is the move, but that's the conversation that we're having. It's not to say that I'm gonna be monogamous because I don't have these options. I always had the options. They never ever went away.
Okay. I'm not challenging you.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, but hear me out. There's a different, because you've been in those rooms, it's a different lifestyle when you're the top of the top. Yes, that's fair to say. You have access to things. Women are not telling you no. Without that, you wouldn't have the dynamic that you have now. Would you say, because you have a family, the dynamics of how you think and how you pretty much conditioned your wife and your family structure came when you did not have that thing anymore. Now, what they were speaking on is men of means, right? Am I correct? Okay, men of means. Them having access and being able to have no discretion in telling anybody stuff. It's my way, highway. I don't have to explain it. I don't have to not be heavy-handed. You either rock or beat it. Right? You tell me the dynamic that you'd be the same man that you are now?
Absolutely.
I
let me
believe
ask
in
this.
work because your mentality. Your
So
mentality alone, I believe it.
Trev, Sweeney, and JR, do you think I'm lying about that?
I would say you said something different a while when I first met you.
What
You
you
said
oh,
something
you mean
different.
about getting married based off of the that's coincidental based off of when I met my wife about the marriage portion. Would I have got married rich or would it have been prior to? But the same mentality would be the same way. If we met prior to me being financially okay, then I got up after we were already together, then yeah, I still would have got married. What I was saying back then was in regards to would I go out rich without anybody find a new person and become a wife then? So is that what you're talking about?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
The whole
And the reason I
dynamic
asked, the reason I asked
would never had that
Trev,
back.
the reason I asked Trev, Sweeney, and JR is I'm not about to put my whole Schmitty on display, but based off what you know about me, do you think what I'm saying is incongruent with what he just described?
I'm not
I mean, I
knocking your family structure. So
No. You don't. No. Trev.
All right, so look, I'll say this, I don't think it'd be very, very different, right? Because Marcus understands, like I understand, that it's not all about the means, right? You do have to have certain attributes, though. Homeboy is 6'7". Homeboy do got charisma, so he's gonna be in a position to where he could obtain, different types of females and do what he want to do. So means could be more than just money. In all honesty, a lot of times it's some people just got a look. You might have green eyes or something crazy. I've seen females go crazy for different things. If you have something that attracts a lot of women, then you realize some of these women will share you. A lot of women will share one dude but won't share another guy, right? You might not have enough for that particular woman to want to share you, but under different circumstances, her wanting to be a part of this man's life, she would share him with another just to have access to what he has access to, or just to be around him. She liked him that much. So that's real.
I think we're missing the mark on what I meant, though. When I said that it's that mentality.
I was just answering the question.
Yeah, I know. That it's that mentality that created the Murphys for life. Because Marcus is an outlier. The rule says reckless abandonment. That's the rule. The rule is anytime somebody gets to move like that, whether they're honest or not, because Murphy never said he lied to any of these women. He said he was honest as shit, created the same problem. It created
And
the
I agree with you. I agree with you saying.
So
100% agree with you.
It really is that mentality of, oh man, it ain't in our nature to be monogamous. We could just go out. It's in our nature to go out there and knock them down if we want to, and somebody should just get with it and get gone. But that creates the very problems that we sit here and say is a problem in our community. Fatherless, broken homes, a bunch of kids growing up with no daddy at home, spreading our finances thin. Even if you are a man of means, you're spreading your finances thin across different families. And they still being raised in a broken home. And let's keep it a bean. To Trev's point, he said you don't even have to be rich to even have that type of access. You can be 6'7" with good hair. So you got a 6'7" good hair nigga out there broke, knocking down 30 women and getting all of them pregnant.
And I agree with you 110%. I want to say that, I always questioned when I got to of age where I could question my children were grown and I could talk to my baby mamas and we can have a mother of the child and a father of the child conversation. The means ain't got nothing to do with money. It don't even have nothing to do with look. Sometimes it's saying it's the gift of gab and saying. I always tell people the power, especially the culture of the black man. We can say something to 5 women and make them move 5 different ways. The means, the definition of the means is not always financial. It could be mental and it could be emotional. It could be physical because we all know the stories of, oh, he knocked me down a bit, so I always gonna fuck with him for the rest of my life. I've heard women say this. So means is defined, I think, by each individual woman. what particular means they more govern or what they truly cherish.
All right, hold on, Murphy. Let me just play the rest of this clip for a second.
Women in poverty. Why? Like, what's your?
Well, I'm older now. I'm not as young as I used to be. So, women in poverty, I can control them better. A girl who can't afford to say, fuck you, Corey, I'm gone. She just can't afford to do it. So, I take advantage of that. Now, that might be wrong, but her poverty and my needs, most of the time, it even out. I don't really need a lot of their time. And they don't tell me to fuck off because they know when I come over, they children can get some
Hold up. God damn.
some outlet Jordans.
Outlet Gucci.
Yeah.
Outlet Gucci.
Why is he inhaling a cigar?
That is reckless abandonment. What he just said is reckless abandonment.
And I
No,
can
he
understand
didn't.
why
No, he
a dude
didn't.
like a dude
I'm
like him
about
would
to
say
explain
means.
how, Shannon. I'm about to explain how. He just said, to a broke chick, I can control her. How do you control? To some Jordans, and number one on her mind is, if I can get this nigga to make a baby with me.
No, he wasn't talking about making a baby. He's talking about a chick that already had a baby.
But no, what I'm saying is, I'm saying that it's that mentality where he goes and does that is what creates the broken homes. His intentions may not be, I'm about to go out here and knock this chick up. Her intentions are different. She understands, if I make a baby with him, I get money. Because the byproduct is the children. Regardless of how your intentions behind it, the byproduct is still a child.
Yeah, but you said reckless abandonment on his part. If you want to say it on her part, because she has unscrupulous, if she has ulterior motives that she's trying to do, he's not suggesting that he's out here trying to make children with him. In fact, he's making it seem like, I'm just sending you some money so your kids by this other dude is getting some Jordans while I'm just getting what I need. So when you screamed out reckless abandonment based on what Corey said, that's why I was giving you the pushback on that.
I agree with records. I agree with what he's saying, because you play with fire, you get burnt. If Corey know that this woman, he's taking advantage of this woman, he's putting himself in a position to where it could become something else. Because what if?
Well,
the children,
that's that, but it's not reckless abandonment. Like
it's not abandonment. It's not abandonment.
I'm a wordsmith, so when I hear words, I apply them accordingly and shit. If you want to,
it's abandonment if you look at it. It's abandonment if you're looking at the black man and the black woman. From that state, the black man is abandoning the black woman because he's putting himself present, and then he's abandoning her.
Not if she don't want him around. His argument is she don't want him around. She's saying basically he don't got a lot of time to give her, and she don't want a lot of time. Did y'all let them? Did y'all
It sounds like it's a transactional situation.
Yeah, it was a transactional situation.
Jesus.
The transactional situation is
Sweeney, don't get me mixed up with I'm condoning what Corey is saying. I'm just simply saying it's not reckless abandonment.
It's not reckless, it's intentional abandonment. It ain't reckless. He's doing it on purpose. He's targeting broke women who ain't got no.
Yeah, but abandonment would only be correct if the woman wanted him to continue to be around. But that we can't really say that that's the case. We don't know if that's the case. He paid off the kid.
My question would be,
did he meet the kid?
But my question would be, what woman wouldn't want him around? If he is a man of means, what woman wouldn't want him around? That's my question. So I think for a woman to say she don't want him around when she really do, she's just saying that. She's just making the transitional so she can get the transaction when she really will want more.
Well, it depends, because remember, he said, I'm not young anymore, I'm older. So he's talking about a sugar daddy situation. So if he's out there knocking down a young one, she may not necessarily want him around. Doesn't matter how much money he has, because he's still an older guy. Listen,
Corey
fellas.
Holcomb makes this straight. He says he preys on the needy and those with low self-esteem. He makes no bones about it. He said, "This is $200. You coming or you going?"
He been saying that too for years.
Okay, so now
This that,
So now-
Sweeney.
is it fair to say that we're looking at the 14, about 15, 16 kids up, and you're being completely honest? A woman signs on for giving you babies 17 and 18?
I'm gonna tell you, I want to say this why, because you know what's funny about it in a sense of thinking about women. Women believe that they can build something or pull something out of a man, or that the next couldn't. They always think that. The majority, I'm not gonna say all. And then to just to circle back and elaborate everything, I was able to do some things that, you know, most men find like unbelievable. Like I got all my baby mamas together at Outback. When I had like 11 kids. I paid for dinner. I said, "Hey, it ain't about me. It's about my children. I want all y'all to exchange numbers, and I want y'all to raise my children as the community." And to this day, other than 3 of my baby mamas, all my baby mamas are friends. I was able to do some things that are unheard of because I was removing myself from the equation, and I was trying to build a community and make it more of make us more of a team. Piggybacking off of what Corey, because I actually know me and Corey are good friends. Corey been this way for a long time, even when he wasn't a known comedian. His mentality is just basically, you know, what he used to say, why run? Why go after the person that's the hardest to get when I can get the person that's the weakest? Again, it's the saying that was in the movie Colors, if anybody know. Why chase after the calf? I'm gonna get the one that's limping down here, because the meat is the meat. It go back to what my brother was saying. The mentality is the reason why you do get a lot of brothers out here, you know, and so the projection of it is fucked up, and the whole transitional subject matter is really fucked up for us as a culture. It's fucked up, period.
You can say transactional. The transactional part is fucked
The
up.
transactional part is really a fucked up mindset. It really is. Because we should care more enough to not take advantage of making that transaction because we just want that product. Think about it like that. Just because I want this product, I'm gonna make this exchange easy, not understanding that I'm hurting this company or I'm hurting the owner. We're not looking at the ethics and the integrity behind it. We only wanting the transaction, which goes to what my brother was saying, where he like it's all fucked up.
Hold on. I'm gonna play this last clip pertaining to this topic.
Is it a realistic expectation for a man of power to have one woman?
I don't think it happens that often. Like I would say it's very rare. Out of 100 men with power, you might find 2 that only have one woman.
And when you say 2 with one woman, what's the time frame of you being with one woman? You talk about a lifetime, you talking about 10 months, you talking about 10 years, you talking about the tenure of their whole relationship.
No, I'm saying, Cam, every once in a while you find a dude, he only is with his woman. It's very rare, but every once in a while you'll be like, wow, that mother, he only fuck with his wife.
Now, this is where, since we're having this conversation, is there ever a time that you've came around a person and you'd be like, yo, like that dude, I ain't got to worry about him. I know that he promotes what he's talking about. See what I'm saying? Like, being with one woman, you know that's him. You feel what I'm saying? There's some people who promote, I'm married, but behind the scenes, it's like.
Of course. I got homies, man, they are preachers. And I just laugh at them. They hold this Christianity in there, but they not living that life. I'm not saying they bad people, because I got friends they're good people, but It's all a joke. It's really a joke. You ain't living that life. You know what I'm saying? Because it's too hard to live that life. It takes a lot of discipline to live that life that you're talking about Christianity-wise. You know what I'm saying?
This is fucked up.
Let me go, because y'all gonna go back to intervention. One thing I noticed that I think I heard some of you brothers was talking about how you would see if you've never been a multimillionaire with a bank account with, say, $3.2 million in cash in the bank with no debt. You really have no idea who you'll be. I know you think you do, but you really don't know who you'll be until that actually happens. In theory, you're like, no, I'm gonna be the same person. You know, I know how I'm gonna get down. I'm gonna marry the same woman. I'm gonna move the same. I'm gonna do. But until you look at your Wells Fargo account and you see all them commas, you really don't know how you're gonna move. Not in terms of like morals, but in terms of the direction of your life would go, and who you will bring along with you. You really will be contemplating like, damn. You know, the thing that Corey is talking about, he's talking about polyamory, not polygamy. And man, I just mentioned you guys that I'm a wordsmith, so it's important that we get this stuff right. You know, he's not talking about polygamous relationships, even though that's what Cam asked him. Corey went straight into the polyamory part, and he was discussing the fact that women are hard to deal with today. So a man of means, we're going to just talk about socioeconomics. We're going to talk about money. A brother that got bread, rather than taking time to sift through a ton of women looking for that one woman that he can talk to, I think is what Corey said. Because Corey was like, imagine having that one woman that you could talk to. That's his way of saying, if we had that, then we wouldn't be out there playing the field. But since it's so hard to find that today, when you a man of means, it's better than just to go out and be with a bunch of women rather than stress over the problems of dealing with one hard-headed one. So I will say this, men of means, for the brothers that's on the panel that are men of means, I don't know everybody's situation, but you guys know how it is. You got less tolerance for bullshit when it comes from women, especially today. And that's one of the reasons why I push men and I teach men the mentality of raising his socioeconomic status. Let me tell you something, man. Fuck you, money matters. Eddie Murphy talked about it I watched it when I don't remember if it was Raw or what's the other one, JR?
Delirious.
Or Delirious. I don't remember which one it was, but he was like, get your shit and go. When you got bread and the chick is acting up, you just be like, get your shit and go. You we ain't got to argue. We ain't going back and forth about nothing. And then she starts saying, when she realized she's like, well, wait a minute, hold on. Well, maybe we could talk about this. So men of means typically don't have time to worry, to try to work it out with the one to figure out who is on his sheet. Listen, you want to argue with me, then go. I don't got time to argue. I don't got time to explain it to you. I'm a high, I got too much shit on my mind to be worrying and going back and forth with you about what flavor ice cream we buying this week at the grocery store. So polyamory is introduced into the equation for a lot of men that have means. But we get back to the discussion, original one. Would he do that if he found the right one? Where Corey says there's a room of 100 men of means, millionaires, let's just say, guys that can just go that have the pick of the litter, and the looks, as Sweeney explained earlier. If he found a solid woman, I don't think he would naturally want to go out and still smash a whole bunch of other ones. But if you got one, if every time that you deal with a woman from when you didn't have money to now that you do have money, and you got to deal with kind of almost the same bullshit over and over again, only thing that's changing is the woman, but it's the same shit that you're dealing with, you start to say, man, then I'm not going to deal with, I'll just move on. And I believe, Murphy, you was asking me a question. You were saying, Shan, what happens to a man who did not go through the spiritual, the physical, did not go through the changes and the experiences that most all men go through? Would he just fall back on his natural ability or his innate desire to just have sex and move recklessly? I think that was the question. Was that not the question or no?
That's correct. Because I just a quick statement. When I was younger, I was with Uptown Records for 2 years. I was a backup dancer for a group called Finesse and Sequent. And I met Sean Combs when he was an up-and-coming guy. He's an intern. And this subject I laugh because I know some cats that are millionaires. And I know they move. It go back to what my brother was saying about move without consequences. So they may have that one woman you think is enough, but they just be going around being reckless.
Okay. So, well, again, I believe that oftentimes we think we got that one woman until we learn more about her, and then that drives us away. So, okay, like you guys were talking earlier about men naturally want to conquer, right? But you got to understand something. Conquering, fighting, war, battle is typically driven by greed and personal perseverance. But naturally, you wouldn't kill if you didn't have to. A human being isolated on an island. I don't know if you guys ever saw the movie Blue Lagoon. It's an old school movie from the 70s.
I have.
Yeah, well, Murphy and I know Kenny has, and maybe Lapeef, but anyway, so we don't naturally want to kill for recreation. Humans don't naturally just want to just another human being. But when greed gets involved, when perseverance, when
self-preservation
Self-preservation, security.
Yeah. Then we'll off anybody else to make sure that we continue and our legacies continue as well. And so when you were asking, well, wait, Shan, what if you remove the history? Remove the experience, remove the spiritual journey, remove all of that, then what happens to men? See, that's the argument that, and Murphy, I'm not saying that you have this, but this is what women say, that men they're wired to just be hound dogs. To be honest with you, men have the natural capacity for self-control, bro. There's a saying that women, exhibit higher self-control levels compared to men, primarily because it's inherently surrounded around their ability to have children and want to nurture children. And it implies that, based on gender, women are more in self-control than men. But the reality is, Murph, the individual differences between men and women, or the difference between a man that hasn't gone through his spiritual journey and a man that has, there's a couple things that you got to consider. One, there's evolution. So, what is the world like today versus how it was when we were living in the mountains? Remove that. There's a hormonal part. Men are horny, bro. There's fluctuations in hormones, and you wake up with that morning wood, you need to knock something down. A lot of times we can't think straight. We got to get this, we got to get this out. This is why I explain to women, don't let your man leave the house horny. And also this is where post-nut clarity gets involved.
Perfect.
So there's a hormonal difference that men have other than women, or a guy that is having sex versus the guy that's not having sex. But here's the biggest one, Murph. and this is what I want you to understand, and this is what I was trying to explain to you earlier on before the intervention tonight. Socialization factors in. Our society, your environment matters. It's who you're around, Murph. It's not so much would a dude be a male slut if he didn't go through the journey and all he had was just himself. No. Did you have a weak or a negative or absent father? Was your big homies in the street? Was your big homies in the street? Did they steer you in the wrong direction? You know, you got some big homies that protect the youngin', and you got some big homies that give him some work. If you got that dude that's giving you work, then he's gonna be the dude that's gonna take you to the strip club, get your dick sucked at fucking age 12, put you out there and have you doing all kind of shit that you ain't got no business doing. And that kind of stuff, when you around people that lead you in the wrong direction, it makes a big difference on why you do the things that you think is natural, but it's not. It was normalized because you was steered wrong as a kid. So my response and my simple answer to you, Murph, is if you were in a normal, loving, nurturing environment, you would naturally, or as my man Marcus White says, biologically want to fuck 7 different women in 7 days.
So no, I wouldn't. No, Murph, before you go into that, it's plenty of people who are raised in them scenarios who operate the same way.
And still wait. Right, that's why I was going to get at.
Back to testosterone. Because let's look at celebrity kids that get raised that we physically see out there in that way. They now, you know, celebrity kids do have some issues going. Yeah. That's why I
T.I. Name one.
But T.I., that's one son. His other sons is fine. They not.
Come on.
Even if it's just one, bro, it still creates the same problem.
You can't even name one.
I don't know the rest of them kids. The only one we find out about,
you brought it up.
You said celebrity. Okay, you said T.I., and I was like, all right, well, that's the one kid. But he got how many kids he got? Like 5, 4 or 5?
Well, the daughter, he's already a grandfather because the daughter just had a baby with such. I mean, all of them is a mess. But scratch T.I. Give me the celebrity that grew up in this environment that I just told you about, that is still out there being that's out there just being sexually promiscuous. Males.
Oh, I'm gonna name one. Let me see, Michael Jordan Jr. That's one. Yeah. You don't think Michael Jordan and his wife? You don't think they had a? You don't think that was a?
Do you realize he's on crystal meth? I mean, come on, you guys.
Okay.
The answer is no.
Okay. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I think what you're saying, but I don't. What my question to you would be is, it's hard to define what a great foundation is, because it's kids that come from great foundations and turn out bad, and vice versa. It's bad foundations and kids come out of bad foundations and become great. So
we do not talk about absolutes over here. We are men. We understand in intellectual conversations that all never goes always. We know
correct.
So I understand that there's outliers, but what we're talking about is general.
What happens to most?
Shan, the reason why it's real difficult to think of like one of the young boys that's doing a thing like that is because they wouldn't be in our mind. We only would know about the celebrity kids that's fucking up. Magic Johnson's son, daughter, Dwayne Wade's son, daughter. We can't name the countless other 300 NBA players, however many people in NFL, they kids that it's nothing wrong with, raised that same way, but you catch them in Soho and they kicking it just like what I was describing earlier. Like, it's plenty of those people. I just like offhand, I can't think of a celebrity that you would know.
And there are none. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They not in Hollywood. That's
no. I wasn't saying Hollywood. Well,
I mean, Chris Paul's son is a good dude.
And he's a slut. He's out there knocking down hoes and got baby mamas popping up.
He ain't got baby mamas.
I ain't saying nothing about no baby mamas popping up.
He knocking motherfuckers down, but he not. Excuse my language. He knocking people down, but he not making babies. He being smart about it. Because again, just because a man might have the urge to knock down multiple women, don't mean he's not being smart about it.
Pause.
And I think that's what Mark said. He's saying, like, if you strap up, if you're doing this, I mean, we all know it's a right way to do wrong. Like it's a process to do something, crazy, and then it's
Shannon,
like it's not what you do, it's how you do it.
I missed your question because I'm kind of lost on it. What was your question to Marcus?
My question?
No, Shannon. Yeah, what was your question to Marcus? About
No, I didn't have a question for Marcus. No, I was just responding where he said, there's a lot of people brought up in wonderful, great in the home or from a childhood that I described that is out there with an innate natural desire to just have indiscriminate sex all week long. And I'm like, doubtful. But hear me out. Listen. If that's the case, then then why even bother trying to raise somebody in a good society, in a good household? Because shit, they're gonna be what they're gonna be anyway, right? And we know that that's not necessarily the case. It's always a better chance to have a father and a nuclear family, and the father to be there and to be the kind of parent that Marcus is to his children right now, because the odds are that Trev's daughter is not going to do no shit that his daughter would do if Trev wasn't there, if Marcus wasn't there, so on and so forth. And that goes for your sons too, fellas. To argue otherwise is weird to hear from me, but I get it. Everybody has their own point of view. I'm simply saying it's not natural. I don't think it is built in that we want to just fuck a bunch of women all the time. I don't think that that's the case. I do think it's natural that we want to fuck all the time. We do want to have sex all the time. And I challenge women to give it to their man whenever he wants it. But for him to just always want to fuck a bunch of different women, I don't think that's the case.
And I would argue, if we're going to make the argument that men are naturally non-monogamous, then the same argument could be made for women. Then you might as well say neither men nor women are non-monogamous, because they're like, it doesn't make any sense.
Why? Shane, you said you would argue that would be the argument. Would you be arguing that men and women are the same? Are you suggesting that men and women are the same, and they have the same? They run the same risks when it comes to sexual relationships?
I would argue that the risks are different, but they still have the same problems. You still run into the same problem.
Most women can't orgasm from penetration. Like, they don't even get the same reward. What I'm saying is they don't get the reward center we get from sex. A lot of times it's tied into their emotions in their brain. Men can have sex with damn near anybody and fuck around and come in under 3 minutes, depending on
including
if he
women we hate.
Are you saying that women can't get sexual satisfaction, or that they can't get it? They
don't. They don't.
Because with other women, when women talk about them being with other women, they do get it that frequently.
Yeah, but that's so uncommon. That's not like a regular thing where women are.
We talking about random. We talking about random sex.
All day.
What? Not.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Plus, listen. So
besides,
look, Sweeney. I'm saying this. Most men on the panel, if a woman is fly enough, she got enough lady lumps, and she look a certain way, even if you hate her, you can still smash. And that's for most men. Women can't really do that shit. Like, that's just is different. They have to have some type of liking to you. Whatever it is that they like about men, they kind of have to feel that. Whereas we could hit damn near anything, right? Like, she could be half asleep, you don't care. Like, she could be ugly, you don't care. Like, if you need to hit, you like, whatever, I need to hit. Women don't typically operate like that.
And isn't that natural?
But what does that have to do with them being naturally monogamous? That don't make them naturally monogamous. Being able to do it in volume doesn't mean that you're monogamous and they're not.
I say that because women generally have to have some type of attachment to you. That's how most women operate. If you ask most women, will they just smash this guy? Not really. The women who behave like that are usually like have been traumatized or are in adult work or something to that nature. Not your typical woman doesn't operate like that.
Can a woman love one man and then 6 months later to a year later love another man?
Later, but not two at the same time.
What does it matter?
Depends on what you define love, though. It depends on what they
That's what
define love.
monogamy would be, right? Right?
Not
That's
necessarily.
what monogamy would be.
I would say, are we talking about time frame? Does it really matter? If she can make baby and love one man in the month of March, and by March of next year she's in a completely different relationship and love another man, why does the time frame in between there matters? It's still not monogamy.
Because it's one at a time. That's where the monogamy comes from. One at a time.
So, all right.
What?
So, all right. So, can a man smash two women at the exact same time?
Yes.
No, I mean literally one dick,
Done it.
two women, smash both of them at the exact same time.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
No,
he got
to do this one over here, and then 3 minutes later, got to do this one over here, right?
No, she
Not
sit
the
on your
minute.
face, and then you.
When you say at the same time, you mean like within the same session, or do you mean like
No, he meant literally,
literally
exact same time.
Yeah.
Time spectrum.
No.
No. You guys are missing this question. He's saying in time spectrum, can he do it? No, your dick can only be in one coochie at a time. Now you can move a second later to the other one because they got that
later
ass
to
up.
go to the next one, but
Right,
you
so what's the
cannot
point,
physically.
Yeah,
So
I'm
my
trying to
point
figure
is
where this
that
is
the
going.
time doesn't matter. Because you can't,
What?
as a man, you cannot sleep with two women at the exact same time. There's still a time frame between
can.
the first woman and then the second woman. There's a
They're
time
still at
frame.
the same time. That's
They're not at
called
the
a
same
menage,
time.
bro.
No,
Yes, it is.
You missing what
He's talking
Well,
about
he's being literal, but I'm
He's
trying to
saying
see what the
literally
point of that
at
is.
the same time.
Yeah, but what does that even mean?
Trev,
What does that even
so what
mean?
it
If I'm
means
smashing
is
both of
that-
them, I'm not monogamous.
So, right. So she's not monogamous because if she's okay, so you smashed one at 5:05, then you smashed another one at 5:15. Does it matter if she smashed one dude on Tuesday and smashed the next one next week?
Yes, let me tell you why. Because as we say that time heals all wounds, time and we're talking about a significant amount of time because you said 6 months. Could a woman love a man in January and love a different man in June? Was your question? And
Right.
I'm thinking that you're arguing that she could, right? Or are you saying she
All
can't?
I'm simply arguing is that would mean that she has the capability to also be non-monogamous. If
No,
we're
I-
making
okay.
that's all. That's the only argument I'm
You're
making.
trying to draw the parallel between if men are monogamous naturally, then women can be monogamous naturally, or if men cannot be monogamous naturally, then women shouldn't be monogamous
Then
naturally.
women can also.
I got what you're saying. I'm simply saying that because we are different genders and there's different risks when it comes to sex, when it's different risks when it comes to getting pregnant, when it comes to pregnancy. You know, this is something that with one man, she'll have to deal with that for 9 months. And she won't really know who the father is until the baby comes. Whereas men can be out because the risk versus the reward being the nut, a nut that women don't get often, as Trev explained. I wouldn't put our monogamy or lack thereof on the same level as women's, just simply because we're both human beings. We're both human beings, but we're different genders, and the different genders are gonna be different because of the shit that can happen to men versus the shit that can happen to women.
And I agree. I believe that we are different. That doesn't mean that one is non-monogamous and the other one is. That's all I'm saying. We may have our different reasons for being non-monogamous or the capability of being non-monogamous, but to say definitively women are incapable of being non-monogamous. But
you got it. You got it, Sweeney. I know you want to argue tonight. You got it.
No, I'm not trying to argue. I will say this though. I will ask this question though. What mammal on this planet has the longest pregnancy?
Whale. Well, no, that's not a mammal, but
That's the longest what?
Pregnancy.
Mammal.
Probably human.
No.
Well, elephants are
Is it
almost 2
an
years, right?
Elephants.
Yeah. Elephants are almost 2 years. Yeah.
And they are non-monogamous. They smash one, get pregnant by this bull, and then 22 months later get hit by another bull and get pregnant by that one. Just like women. Today, we see women are actually more likely, especially in our community, to have multiple kids than the men in the community. This is just headcanon. Don't take me serious.
That's not natural. That's been normalized. And also, elephants don't know that they're elephants. You know that you're a human.
But this is just headcanon, and this is just headcanon. Don't take me serious on this, right?
Right. I got you. You got to the next question. I
got to
would
give
ask
a disclaimer because this is about to be foolish as hell. Depending on how you
ask what other mammal on the planet is sentient besides dolphins.
So, and if you make that argument, then also because we are sentient, then we fuck it.
Exactly. You want to argue that? Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not going to end well.
But, no, I was gonna say something, and this may sound ridiculous, right? Is it if you asked and you took a man, you took the average man, and you took the average woman, and you said, "Go make a baby or you die." Which one is more likely to make to carry on the species?
9 months later, they'd be alive. Oh, wait, you mean which one between the man and the woman?
Which one between the man or the woman?
The man.
If you took the average man and the average woman
and you said go make a baby or you
y'all gotta go make a baby or y'all die. So you got the man has his chances. He got to go out there and play the dozens to make a child, and the woman got to go out there and play the dozen to make a child.
Oh,
if you not make a child, you die.
You adding the difficulty factor? I don't know. You know what? I'd still argue. Well, you see, because what you're asking is what's easiest. Because see, men are we talking about modern society? Because men are just go take some pussy. You know. I'm gonna just take it, and who gonna stop me? Whereas your argument is, well, women, she could call up a guy to give her some nut in 5 minutes. So I see what your point is, but I'm curious as to where you're trying to go with it.
I was gonna say this is about to go into my head canon.
They're both going to be alive in 9 months. If death is the punishment or death is what happens if they don't make it happen, both men and women will be alive.
Shane, my question, my Shane, but listen, let's say that like he said, let's say this man go take a woman or whatever he does, the woman still could abort the child.
Right.
Whereas where a woman could go out and just get pregnant, she gonna have it because she's the one that, carries the baby. So I think it's easier for the woman.
Because he may not even get the woman pregnant that he. So
he may not be ovulating at the time when he.
But if that's the case, I have way more chances than she does. When you think about it, because yes, I do, because I could run out and get 200 joints that I run down on versus her got one shot. Man. And if anything goes wrong with it,
Trev,
it's over.
Trev, he said average. He didn't say a Trev smooth.
But what you said, the average man gonna go take it. Right? You said the average man gonna go take it.
But see, that's the thing. I think women with
death. Yeah,
if it's or death, the average man gonna go take it.
Look, I don't know where y'all from, but I know some women that they take 7 nuts in one night, and it would be again, and it might.
A woman could be pregnant by 2 different men at the same time. It's very rare. But she can be.
Almost impossible, bro.
No, it's not. There was a woman
that was
not almost impossible.
And while she was pregnant,
it is almost impossible. It's less than 1%.
Dropped another egg and got pregnant again. If she was
I saw it on Maury too. I get it, but it's almost it almost never happens. It's less than 1%. It's like one of those outliners that we don't really discuss on the show.
I'm just saying. Shit, hell, a woman could technically take 2 dicks at the same time. If we arguing.
Yeah, but only one of them is going to impregnate her.
Yeah,
well. What Jada could say? There's no way that she can.
Hey, man, hit that like button up so make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, man. Catch us next Tuesday. We out. Appreciate the love, y'all.